Alright, first of all, I want to ask you about your new album,
Yeah.
Born to Boogie.
Oh no, there's not an album called Born to Boogie.
It's not an
It's
album?
a film.
Oh, it's a sound.
Just a film. There is music from it, but I don't know if I'll put it out as an LP. There is live tracks, but I doubt if I'll release it.
Can you name some of the titles of the songs?
We do Children of the Revolution in the film with Elton John and Ringo Starr playing on it. What else do we do? We do all the Set Now Hot Love, Get It On, Better Groove, Jeep Stone, Baby Strange, Tutti Frutti we do in it. And little bits and pieces of Ringo and I do together. It's basically what you've seen there on film with bits cut into it.
Which one of the songs do you like best?
In the film, I think Children of the Revolution, because it's 12 minutes long in the film. You know, we did it in the studio and it was really interesting.
Can you tell me about the
It's basically just bits of a couple of live concerts we did, and we got together about 40 minutes that we thought was good, and then went into a studio and did some things dressing up. The slider cover is from that. We did a piece of Alice in Wonderland, and we did some sort of freaky things. And they didn't bear much resemblance to anything sane, really. They were just sort of funny things, and we just cut it all together. So it's just like a collage, really. It's a realistic rock and roll collage.
When was this taken?
We finished it 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
So it initially was started 6 months before that. It took 6 months to make.
Okay. Do you have any plan for a new album?
Yeah, the new album, I needed 2 more tracks, and in fact we did those the other day. So I finished mixing the album on Friday of this week. As soon as I get back, I go straight in the studio. I've got some strings to put on about 2 tracks, but most of it's finished. I don't have a title for it yet, but it's very different. But I think it's probably the best thing we've done. It's much more high energy than the slider. It's a sort of more rock and roll sort of album.
What's the basic difference between slider and
It's much more. The slider was, this one sort of.
What's it called?
I don't know yet. I haven't got a title, no. I was going to call it, I could do, couldn't I? There's a track called Left Hand Luke and the Beggar Boys, which is one of the tracks, and I was going to call it that, but I'll call it something.
That's one of the tracks, right?
But yeah.
Can you name some others?
Let me think. There's one called Street and Beige Shadow, there's one called Rapids, there's one called Free Angel. Can't remember the rest, I'm quite sure. We've got 25 tracks.
25 tracks?
Yeah. So I'll pick the best of them.
What kind of guitar do you have?
I've got 26 guitars. Basically they're all Gibsons or Stratocasters, or Fenders, or all the other ones are handmade ones, like that silver one I've got, I had made. But I've got about 6 Les Pauls and Flying Arrows.
Did you ever use the solid silver?
I use it, yes, but I only use it if I break the strings on the white one. There's 2 that I have there are my favourite guitars. If I break a string on one of them, then I'll use it. But I've only had it for a month, so I'm not really used to it. The other 2 I've had for 3 years.
Is it a Fender Stratocaster?
That one is, yeah.
Strings. Again, I like it.
Oh, what kind of strings do you use?
Ernie Ball Super Slinky.
Okay, then what's your key when you sing? Usually.
It changes. It all depends what time of the morning it is. I suppose most songs would be in E or G. Maybe G. Metal Groove is G. Hot Love is in G. But that's the basic range. But I do a lot in C. Do some in D. Take your pick.
Right, who's your favorite vocalist?
Him. I don't know. I don't really think I've got anyone in particular. I like a lot of old blues singers. Bessie Smith is an old blues singer I liked a lot. Let me think. John Lennon has a nice voice. But no one in particular. I can't really think of anyone. Robert Johnson maybe, someone like that, but I can't. No contemporary singers.
Do you prefer black music to white music?
It depends, again, what mood I'm in. If I want sort of... when I'm in America, I tend to listen more to black station, but I don't really know. I think somewhere between the two. I mean, you've got someone like Rod Stewart, something who sounds like Black Cat, really, or Joe Cocker, who I prefer to listen to rather than, say, The Temptations. But then I'd prefer to listen to Smokey Robinson rather than, I don't know, the Bee Gees or something, you know. So it depends what the song is.
You mentioned the blues guitar and blues vocalist. You have this number called A Lean Woman Blues.
Yep.
And you,
That's your one.
yeah, right. Do you plan to do that kind of stuff more?
Yeah, on the new album there was two or three tracks which are like that. That Left Hand Lute song is very much a blues song. It's very slow, and we use Aretha Franklin singers on it to sing with. Yeah, I mean, it really depends what I get, what mood I'm in. I tend to play a lot of blues things at home, or when we just jam, you know, play about. But because most blues things are basically within the 12-bar pattern, if you put too many on one album, they'll sound the same, you know. Lean Woman Blues was done literally on the session. I just made it up, so that seemed sort of fitting to do. I think a lot of my guitaring is based on blues, but not the chords. The chords will be more contemporary, you know. But I do listen to a lot of blues things at home.
And I hear you into soul music too.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Depends at the time. I like Joe Tex a lot. All the Stax things. Everything from Stax. Some of Motown things are good. There are lots of good black people. Places like Otis Redding and lots Buddy Guy.
Does anybody influenced you on your guitar?
I came to England, so I could see him develop, you know, through about 3 years. But he was so good. Live, he was so good.
About Jeff Beck?
I know, Jeff's all right. He's very inconsistent. He can be brilliant. He can also be terrible. I prefer Jimmy Page to Jeff much better. Being consistent, I mean, Jeff Beck can be very good, but I don't like anything he's doing at the moment. His last 3 albums, I think, are terrible. When he was with the Yardbirds, he was good, but I think he peaked early, you know.
And who could be your favorite rock and roll guitarist?
I think Eric Clapton, really. Eric. Most taken.
Do you play any other instrument besides?
Yeah, I can play piano a bit, bass, organ, mellotron. I play anything with strings. I can play a bit of cello. I mean, none of them as good as I play guitar, but I mean, I could if I tried. And if I play a harmonica, I can play that. You can play anything once you try.
Did you ever think about doing that by yourself for a recording?
What, doing everything, you mean? Well, on some of the early records, like Beard of Stars and things, in fact, I did do everything. I just didn't tell anyone. On Ride a White Swan, I play all this. It gets boring though, if you do it all yourself.
It looks like, this whole phenomenon of you're a rock and roll superstar, and people don't pay too much attention to your music itself.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with that, because I don't think people will buy LPs, if that was true. If it was only singles, I'd say yes, but to go out and spend, I don't know how many yen it is to get an album and listen to an hour's worth of music, there has to be more to it than just your pop, really.
I mean, people who don't know about music, they just...
Well, a lot of people don't know about music, that buy records. There's a lot of people that know about music can't afford to buy records. I think you just have to accept, by your own standards, that what you do is the way you want it, and let it take care of itself. I mean, you can't get too worried about it. And when we play badly, I know we're playing badly. I don't care if there's a million kids going mad. I'm not happy. You know.
Which do you put more emphasis on? Emotion or your technique?
Emotion, I think, has to be foremost. What you do, you see, is in moments of being, like now, if I was sitting here on my own, I'd play the guitar, just play about with no emotion at all. I'd be watching television, but I keep my fingers together. You know, and so when I feel emotional, I'm equipped to express myself with it, you know. So you're practiced, you know.
What is the basic difference between your early stuff, like Terence Oswald and T-Rex?
I just think it was 4 years ago or whatever, really. I've grown as a person in that period of time. I'm a better musician now, and I think I can express myself better. I think the times were wrong then for me to be very successful then. and the times changed. Fortunately, I did too, you know. Lucky on me.
Some people, like John Lennon or Mick Jagger, they're into political things. Like Mick Jagger once said, the music cannot be the cause for revolution.
I agree, yeah.
What do you think of the music and the relation to politics?
I think it's relevant. I think you can state a thing so openly that it defeats the purpose, which I think John Lennon has done recently. There's a lot of things on that Sometime in New York thing, which I think are just too heavy to lay on kids of any sort. I mean, some of it I find a bit naughty, you know. Not that he's wrong in doing that. It's just I think he's defeating his own purpose, which is to reach as many people as possible. Children of the Revolution, slightly political in its own way. But I just don't say who it's against. You know, I mean, you have the choice to sort it out.
Okay, and lastly, I want to ask you about the lyrics you write. Like one thing I can never understand is what the metal guru is.
Metal guru is very much like one of your local deities, be it, I was looking through one of your books, I mean, it's a personal god, in as far as a superhero, if you want. You know, it's someone who would help you. And I was just trying to get down a religious sentiment without it being religious, you know, sort of a rock and roll god, that's all it is. And each verse just indicates really how I saw that person, you know. But there's one line at the time when I wrote it that was being touched up with telephones. I don't like telephones. And it was ringing all the time. So my idea of where God would be at would be all alone without a telephone, you know, which you can interpret as sitting in a cave in Tibet, if you want, or being down the Byblos, whatever you want. I mean, really, your choice. For me, it was being on my own, you know.
That's all. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.